She had asked where this glove was supposed to go, and we never quite figured out what
it's not in the front end of
it. It is not.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, funny that you say that because a lot of us don't even wear it anymore.
Yeah.
You
I'm
just
sorry,
are going
what?
in there naked arms?
It doesn't really, those
They
things don't
make
really.
these for a reason. What are you talking
That's
about?
actually
they're not-
disgusting. Did you wash your hands today?
No.
All right, and welcome back to Our Herd, the official Toledo Zoo podcast. I'm Corey.
I'm Caitlin.
And we are your hosts here of the podcast. And behind our producer desk, we have Maddie, who's coming back for yet another episode. So, man, we are still sitting in this seat here today. I'm so happy that I still have a job after that first episode.
I was really nervous we were about to get booted,
Yeah,
honestly.
We haven't been fired quite yet, and we haven't been poking the bear enough. No offense to the Herp team. They did a great job. I'm so proud of them.
They did a great job. They were our guinea pigs, and I think they did awesome. I hope that all of our listeners also enjoyed their crazy stories they had to share.
Yeah, and speaking of listeners, we had quite a few tune in, and we had gotten some good commentary and some good engagement. So it's just been really great to be able to launch this, and I'm so happy to see that people are excited for us too.
I'm so excited that my mom wasn't the only listener, but we had some amazing comments like Corey said. Emma said, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing." Ken said, "Love it." Melinda said, "That's my girl." Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Melinda.
Steve said, "You do an outstanding job on the podcast, both fun and informative. Looking forward to future episodes." Another comment was, "How often will you be doing the podcast?" This was awesome.
Yeah.
This is going to be a monthly thing.
Yep, we'll be doing one of these episodes every month. So be sure to tune in, follow, subscribe on the 3 different platforms that we're doing this podcast on. So we have Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and the primary one that I would suggest for most viewers is YouTube, because you can also see us, because this is, after all, a video podcast.
This is our February podcast episode. February is the birth month of our beloved elephant calf, Kirkja. I can't believe that this time last year, Corey, we were sitting in the elephant office waiting for Kirkja to be born.
Yeah, it just felt like yesterday, but also it's been an eternity as well. So it's this very weird feeling.
And what was crazy for us was that when the keepers had texted us, "Hey, Renee's progesterone had dropped," we literally grabbed our computers, grabbed our cameras, grabbed a little foldable table and set up shop in the elephant keeper's office so that we had every chance of being there when Kirkja was born. It was awesome.
I mean, by the time that we had to take our computer stuff out of there, it was coated in dust.
Yeah. And I just remember like smelling so bad after leaving those offices.
Oh my gosh, our clothes were just like coated.
And you know, Corey, I don't know, I'm getting a whiff of that scent again.
I'm picking up a little bit on that too.
And I think it might be our guest. Just kidding. We love you guys, but you do have a very stinky department. I want to introduce you guys, some of our elephant staff, past and present. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Sarah. I'm the elephant manager, and I've been here for 17 years.
I'm Dave. I retired in August of 2024, and I worked here for 42 years.
And we somehow convinced you to come back and talk to us today.
Yes, it's fun.
We are so excited to have the both of you on here, just mostly because of the wonderful work that you guys have done and currently are doing with our elephants, and just how different your guys' department runs from just about any other animal department, but also all the history that you guys have here as well. So being that we just launched a 125th anniversary celebration here at the Toledo Zoo, be a great opportunity to talk about some history within the elephant department and just how things had run and changed to how things are today.
Sarah, I want to start with you. You are an elephant manager. How did you get to the position that you are in today?
So I knew I wanted to work with animals, and then I didn't know exactly how to get there. So when I went to college, I was like, hey, I want to work with animals. My first year, I was actually undecided. So I got directed kind of into restoration ecology. So that's what my major was in college. And then I was lucky enough to get an internship at Indianapolis Zoo, working with marine mammals. I got a seasonal job at a small zoo and worked my way up to full-time, and then started full-time at Toledo in 2008.
You've been here since.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been,
It's weird it's been that long.
Yeah, does it feel like 17 years?
No. I mean, maybe.
It does.
It does. Yeah.
Well, it's weird when you see like the new staff come in, and I kind of feel like, I'm probably like the age you were when I was, you know what I mean? Like we flipped roles kind of.
You're seeing the baby zookeepers come in.
Yeah.
And now you're teaching them.
Right. Which is Because I mean, Dave taught me everything.
Wait till you get somebody that wasn't born when you started. That's when it really gets weird.
And now, Dave, what did your journey look like? You know,
so I have a Bachelor of Science in Wildlife Management from Ohio State. My goal was always to become a veterinarian. So I had spent time working with veterinarians during the summers, and then I actually had worked at SeaWorld for a while. And then I ended up getting into the marine mammal department at SeaWorld, and I was working there. It was only a seasonal job at the time. And then I saw that the Toledo Zoo was hiring it through AZA newsletter. Of course, I didn't even know Toledo had a zoo at the time because I was, close to Akron. Came out for an interview, wasn't really expecting much. Got hired, decided I liked it, and I ended up staying. And elephants, mainly because I got a chance to work with elephants, and elephants had always fascinated me anyways. So,
were you seeking it out? Because I wasn't seeking out elephants. It just kind of like.
Well, I knew that I had actually seen an article in the local paper that they were getting into African elephants and they were moving out the Asian. And like I say, so I looked at the opportunity that I could possibly get to work with elephants. It wasn't, I wasn't guaranteed when I interviewed that, you're going to be working with elephants. But I figured it would give me a chance to do it.
So when you were first hired, you must have arrived right around the time that one of our African elephants, Renee, had arrived here at the zoo.
Yes, Renee arrived in June of 82. I started working July 12th of 1982. And I was here about 2 months before I finally got trained to be one of a relief keeper with elephants. So that's kind of how I got into it.
So you and Renee had this long 40-year journey together.
I keep telling this.
Like a married couple.
I keep telling my wife this. I said, I have known Renee longer than you. Wow. I have a longer term relationship with her than you. She loves hearing that. Yes. Hi, dear. I love you.
What an incredible journey for you guys, though. That's so cool.
I want to know now, since you are now retired, do you come to the zoo still to see Renee?
I have been out here a few times, not as often as I thought. It's just so much different being on the other side of the guardrail and stuff like that. So it makes it kind of hard.
Yeah.
So.
Do you think Renee sees you and she's like, hey, where's my food?
I hope so.
Yeah. She's like, I know you.
Yeah.
She knows Dave.
Yeah.
So,
And then, we all see him and we're like, Dave's here.
Yeah. I try not to impose too much on him. So.
Yeah. Well, we were doing an intro one day and I was in the back watching. And I could see someone in the lobby. I was like, that's Dave.
Oh, yeah. I was talking to Dave. Yeah, right, so.
I feel like Renee kind of has the same. Hey, Dave's here.
That's so sweet. Yeah,
That's
I love
sweet.
it. What is it, 6 keepers now, including yourself? Or is it 6 people altogether?
Yeah, 6 people, yeah.
So when did you switch over to manager? And then what is it like, managing a group of people who are designated to elephants, rhinos? What's that like for you?
Yeah, so I moved to manager in 2021, I think. And I didn't know going in that I wanted to be a manager. I just want to take care of animals, right? I just want to do the fun stuff. But now you as a manager, you get more of a voice, you get more of training people to train elephants, which is cool. So Louis, Renee's firstborn, he moved to North Carolina Zoo. I got to go on that transport, which was really cool. And then also got to go on the transport when Ajani came to Toledo. And I got to spend a week with their crew learning Ajani, and then make that trip. And they got to stay for a week. So there's been a lot of cool opportunities.
Yeah. And I think it shows that, again, your guys' department is so unique and that you needed to go build that relationship with Ajani. Right. And you needed to go with Louis to help build the relationship with his new keepers because they are such intelligent animals.
A lot different than a reptile. Which just anybody can go do.
Yeah, you can drop off a turtle. You can't really drop off.
Anybody can do it.
Put them in a box.
Yeah, put them in a box. Put them in a box and throw a mouse to them.
Yeah. You're like, hey, have a good life, dude. Awesome. Well, yeah. So Sarah, you said you've been here for 17 years.
Yeah.
Dave, you said 42 years.
42 years.
42.
I think he was here when the zoo opened.
I came a year after.
You actually were the first keeper ever.
Yeah.
In the world.
Full time.
Yeah. So
he was here when the first elephant was purchased.
Yeah, Babe, wasn't it?
No, actually Josie.
Josie,
1905.
Yeah, 1905.
My first day at Toledo, it was way different because we had, for the mammal department, and at that time it was both large and small. It's just one big department of mammals. We had 7 full-time keepers for the whole thing.
Only 7?
7. And we had, I don't know, 3 times the animals that we have right now. But again, you have to look at the situation. We had like the carnivore building, when that was actually cats, every one of those cages had cats in them and every one of them had multiple cats. I mean, it was an all day thing just to work that building. And plus you also had a couple hoofstock areas with it, but it was all day and all you did was feed and clean and water. That's all you had time for. So it has changed dramatically to where now you actually have time to do training, to do, research, do, breeding projects, all these different things. We didn't have time to do that. We were lucky to get out of here in 8 hours just doing the bare minimum because we were, we had so few people and the zoo had just gone from city to private, so there was, they didn't have the money at the time, so it was a completely different.
It's interesting that you say that the zoo used to have like twice as many animals as we have here today. You would think that as time goes on and as the zoo grows, you would acquire and have more animals. Why is it that?
So I guess I should correct one thing. Twice the mammals that we had. Now I can't, I don't know about birds and herps, but as far as mammals, but part of it is too, the standards are so different. So, keeping 3 lions in one cage, it's no big deal. Now you want to have more of a realistic exhibit for the animals. You want to have room for them, to be able to act more natural and things like that. So that's the thing. So we have less animals, but their exhibits are way better. And they actually have exhibits where a lot of these cats, they were never on any kind of ground. They were just on concrete their whole life. Now they actually have an exhibit with dirt, things they can dig in, they can climb, stuff like that. So it's just dramatic change from what it was.
Both Caitlin and I are responsible for digging through some of the historical photos and videos that we have here from the zoo and such as through the 80s. And yeah, like just visually, even things have just changed so much.
Right.
And yeah, for you, Dave, specifically, what I find most interesting is that you're the generation of zookeepers that had to usher us into the modern era of zoos.
Yeah.
You taught Sarah how to be a keeper.
Yeah,
I did.
for sure. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing is you were actually in with the elephants. So this was
Yes.
before protective contact. You guys
Yes.
were free contact with them. What was that like? And what was that change like when it became free or protective contact?
It's, it's hard to describe. It's 2 different worlds. It really is. And, I understand the reasons why we went to protected, but I really enjoyed free contact. I think it was harder on the keepers than it was on the elephants. We were kind of training the elephants a little bit. So we put Lou and Twiggy in protected contact a few months before Renee, because Renee was pregnant. So we wanted to be able to keep walking her and things like that. It was tough.
I bet.
I mean, I came in at the end
Right.
of free contact, like my whole first year was free contact, but we were also doing PC at
Yes,
that
right.
time,
Mhm.
even. So for me, it wasn't that
Yeah.
big of a switch.
What is
Um,
PC?
Protected
Protected
contact.
contact.
Yeah.
Okay. And so then FC is
Free contact.
free
Yeah.
contact.
And it,
The zoo world
But
has
nobody
so many
says
like,
FC.
no one
I
says
know, yeah.
FC.
It's just
and,
pizza.
Zoo lingo.
in my personal opinion, I think, all elephant keepers should have the opportunity to do free contact at one point, but obviously that's not going to happen. But it's so different and it's such a, different way of doing things. And so, I mean, even at the end, after doing 12 or 13 years of protected before I retired, Sarah would still yell at me because I wanted to do free contact.
You can't go in there.
Such a mean boss.
You can't ride Renee.
Yeah, I know.
I know, it's so weird telling
I
you,
know,
like,
I know.
Dave, you can't do that.
Especially when I'd be like, Sarah, you were 6 months old when I started here.
That's crazy.
It's so cool to be able to talk about this because
Yeah.
it really is just an interesting way that the industry has changed.
Even when you look back, you think, wow, this is how we had to do things, and you kind of regret some of it, but that was just that's the way it was. That's the way we were trained, or I was trained, and that's how it was for a long time.
Yeah, you guys were just using best practices that were aware and
what was
and known to
considered
you.
the norm at the
Well,
time.
yeah,
for
it was
elephants.
passed down. It
Yeah,
was,
right. Yeah, I mean that's the way elephants have been handled since they first showed up into the in the country in the late mid 1800s, late 1800s. Yeah,
It just shows how much zoos have changed
Right.
over
So much.
these
Right,
past few years.
right.
Even.
Exactly.
Hopefully for the good.
Yes.
I hope
Oh
so.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's,
definitely.
it's way better. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Corey mentioned that he found some photos of you, Dave. We've been looking through our archives and we wanted to share some pictures. So this first one, let me know when you can see it. Which one's Renee? Is Renee in
Renee
here?
is the one closest to me.
Renee's the one. So on the right?
Yes, on the right.
On the right?
Yes, yep.
I thought it was her because Renee's got a big head. I'm like, when I'm looking through old photos, I'm like,
Kirkja has a big head too.
Kirkja has a big head too. But I'm like, okay, there's Renee. She's got a bigger head.
And the other one is Lauren, because what happened is it was in 82 when Renee arrived. It was two Africans that came in, Renee and Lauren. And so the other one there is Lauren. And that building actually is what's now the Children's Zoo.
Wow.
Yes.
Really?
That was our elephant building. And then it became the...
this is the barnyard?
Well, actually it became, so it went from elephant building to panda building to then it was a primate building. Then it was a conference room, whatever that.
The conference room.
I can't remember what we called it.
The
Is that
lodge?
the barnyard?
The lodge. The lodge. Thank you. Yeah. Now the barnyard. Yeah. Now the barnyard. So
We used to have zoo wides in that building.
We did.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
But that's the building that's from.
Some other photos we had found are
that's
you
one
guys
of my favorite
in the water
days
with them.
ever.
Were you giving them a bath?
No.
Whose pool is that?
That is our old hippo pool, which is where the hot dog stand. What's it called? It's not the hot dog stand. It was the hot dog stand.
Bistro?
Yes, thank you, Bistro. Yeah. So that was our old hippo pool. So Renee and Lauren, their exhibit was where Primate Forest is, and there was a little pool that had been part of a tiger exhibit, and so we were going to start giving them access to the pool. As far as we know, they'd never been in anything like that. So a couple of days after work, we would take the elephants into the hippo pool after the zoo closed and just play around with them. And we did this for like a couple hours.
You're playing Marco Polo with some elephants.
It was such a ride. I mean, those are a couple of the funnest days I ever had here.
I bet.
Being able to splash around in the water with those guys. So, yeah.
I mean, not gonna lie, I want to do that with Kirkja.
I want to do it with Kirkja too.
That's Renee there. I have Renee Lawrence over there with Don. That was such a blast.
That's awesome. This next photo, this is Renee, definitely, right?
That is Renee.
Oh,
yes.
big old noggin.
One of my
she looks so young there.
One of my volunteers took that picture. It's one of my favorite pictures.
Oh, it's so cute. This next photo, you guys are walking them on grounds. Can you explain to us? So more of these photos that I've seen and I've heard stories of is you guys did like performances or almost like shows with the elephants?
We actually did.
What was that like?
We did 4 or 5 down on the amphitheater stage. That was a lot of fun. This is just us walking them around the zoo. We used to just take them out of the exhibit and walk them around the zoo, and especially over where the Gorilla Meadow is now. Yeah, we did a number of performances down on the amphitheater with them. We all were dressed up in tuxes, and we took the elephants down and did a show. They were each playing an instrument and stuff like that.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. I think I have a photo here of everybody in tuxes and
we used to have that hanging in the
Yeah.
We were going to take them down. And that was, so here we have, this is Lauren, Renee, and Rafiki at the time. So this was like 93 or 94 that this happened.
That's so fun. Oh my gosh. And there's another current zookeeper in there, Miss Mary Beth.
Yes.
She's still here. She's now a small mammal.
Yes,
Small mammal.
Small mammal.
Small mammal keeper.
The guy she's standing next to, Steve, he was like on vacation and he wasn't sure if he was going to get back in time to do it. So Mary Beth was trained to be a fill-in in case we needed her that day.
Oh my gosh. You got a black dress? Can you? Yeah. All right, cool. You're on.
She knew. So she was practicing
She was
with
an
us.
elephant keeper anyway.
At the time,
Yeah.
So she was practicing with us just in case, But,
That's so funny.
So.
I love it. Wow. I love looking back at old photos. And we hope that throughout this year of 125, we're going to be sharing so many more photos on like social media. So it's going to be great.
So when it comes to zookeeping for elephants, and you guys also take care of our Indian rhino that we have here, what is it about elephants, and you can include the rhino here as well, but what is it about those animals specifically that just set them so far apart from any other animal at the zoo? Is it their intelligence level? Is it just their sheer size? Like, is it a mixture?
Well, I mean, I've not worked with the Indian rhino. I worked with the white rhinos that we used to have. But as far as the elephants, to me, it's their intelligence. It's the size. They're just, to me, they're so unique. They're so different than any other mammal. That trunk. I mean, that thing's just fascinating.
That trunk?
Why is it there?
Yeah, I mean, the dexterity with it and the things that they are able to do.
They do.
Yeah, that's
the little things they pick up.
Yeah.
And
You guys are probably so busy just keeping them engaged throughout the day as well, right?
Right.
Like, what is that like for you guys, and having to come up with different things for them to do? Or
yeah, I think it's fun. Like, and a lot of our staff, come up with new behaviors to train them, or, new enrichment to put in to make it a little bit harder for them to get hay, or, some of the gifts we've gotten actually for Kirkja that, are little puzzle feeders that, not only are good for Kirkja, but we can some of them, if we can't put them in the stall with the bigger ones, because they'll break them. But if we put them on the outside and they can't, really get a hold of them, we can still use them. And Renee and Twiggy have really loved those big balls that have the holes in them. And so, yeah, it's fun to enrich them. It's fun to do the training sessions and, keep them learning constantly.
And the training seems to be mutually beneficial as well. I mean, we've been able to thankfully produce so many videos with you guys and kind of shadow what you guys are training for and what types of behaviors. What, like in a modern zoo today, what types of behaviors in training sessions are we doing, and like why are we doing those?
Mostly we do husbandry training sessions. So that's, the stuff that we need them to help us out with to take better care of them, right? So we, trimming their feet, doing blood draws, enemas, and clean outs, I'm so
glad that you brought that up because Caitlin's been ready for this.
I was given this and I've kept
She found it in her bag.
It was in my bag. So where does this actually go?
So
what's funny?
Some background information really quick. So Caitlin's currently wearing a glove that when we had produced a short video of us swapping jobs with our elephant keepers, a part of it was that they had her put this glove on, and she had asked where this glove was supposed to go, and we never quite figured out what
it's not in the front end of
it. Is not.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so we need some explanation here.
It's in the business.
Why do you got to put this in there?
So, I mean, funny that you say that because a lot of us don't even wear it anymore.
Yeah.
You
I'm
just
sorry,
are going
what?
in there naked arms?
It doesn't really, those things don't really.
These for a reason. What are you talking about?
That's actually disgusting. Did you wash your hands today?
No.
He's retired.
I hope he's
He snuck in.
Okay, hold on. So you're not even using this, but anyway, what would that be for? And what in the world is, what's going on? What's going on over there?
Yeah. So a rectal clean out. Probably.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to describe it.
Yeah. I mean, you're sticking your whole arm
Why?
in rectally.
Why?
So you can reach the feces to pull it out?
So you
Why
have to,
why-
so we
why-
do a clean out to, it was basically cleaning the poop out.
Okay.
So it's that for, if we're doing an artificial weighing down on some of the other parts that we have to see. Like,
And also for them to do the ultrasound, so we know if we're in the right time to do putting in the semen and stuff like that. They go in through the rectum and they need all that out of the way so they can get better pictures of
and also for semen collection, the other
Right,
side
right,
of the
I'm
breathing.
so perplexed
I
right
don't
now.
want to know. Isn't another thing like you guys are able to make sure like everything feels good in there? Like that sounds so weird. I'm sorry, but like everything like I heard. Sorry. I saw one time. I've seen a lot of Ashish, our rhino. Not only are you cleaning out, but you guys are able to like make sure they're all healthy and stuff.
Palpate. Yeah, you can like palpate. Yeah, right. Yeah. That's more of the vets though do more of the palpation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We're more there to do the dirty
To
work
clean
for them and make it
To
easier
do
for
the
them to
dirty
palpate.
work.
Yeah.
Do you go get like a
Nice.
manicure after that?
Yeah.
Because for semen collection, they also ultrasound so you can see the ampulla. So that's actually where the semen is sitting internally, and you can see how full they are
From that end.
from the ultrasound. Yes.
Okay. We always
So
have
then
to-
that's how you stimulate too.
Yes.
Okay. Everybody just.
This went from PG to PG-13.
Yes.
We're
we've
not going
officially-
rated R. Don't worry. Yeah, don't worry. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Crazy. Okay. Animal
Wait.
anatomy is just so different.
Sarah, you've told me this story and I feel like you need to tell the viewers. Weren't you doing like an enema one time and you got a little like elephant bath?
Oh yeah. So
Hazard of the
please
job,
tell
right?
this.
so
Please
the
tell the class.
enema. So we clean them out first to get all the poop out, right? But
Mhm.
sometimes you can't get it all, and sometimes they don't really want to help you and push out that poop because if you.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes they will help. Like you kind of just, move your arm around and kind of, they have a big bolus. Their poops are boluses.
Yes. Right.
So you can kind of just
Yeah,
work it out and they kind of help. Sometimes they don't want to. So if you put a hose in, give them an enema, that whole cavity will fill up and you're kind of waiting. And a lot of times it's just like, like right on you. And we used to, get all suited up in our rain gear and be all ready.
Your
and now
little
it's
yellow
like,
raincoat
Yeah.
and your red boots.
And it doesn't make any difference. Can you
it
still do
doesn't. It goes down the arm. It goes down the neck of your raincoat. Like you might as well just not wear anything. I mean,
Well, yeah.
Sarah's over there in her bikini, like,
That would be a lot easier to clean up afterwards. But,
So that happens sometimes.
so it just comes rushing out at you. And
yeah, you don't know when it's coming. So it's just like,
yeah, there's no warning.
Does this bother the elephants much when you're doing it?
yeah.
You're feeding them, they don't care.
Yeah.
Usually.
So we have like a primary keeper that's in charge of feeding the elephant. They're talking to whoever's in the back saying, if, they're not feeling great, you can kind of tell by their behavior. Hey, they're looking back a lot. They're uncomfortable.
Most of the time they just stand there
and
the primary trainer is just feeding them along and they don't care.
They just don't care.
No. And
They know what's good for them.
And they know, I mean, we put them in our restraint device because that's how we can get access, behind them safely.
Yeah.
They are tethered in there and we have to open the whole back door and have access. And they go in there. They gotta know it's coming.
Right.
Something's coming.
Yeah, right.
That's like a place.
Oh God, it's a Thursday.
And we
I know
train
what happens
it
on Thursdays.
We train it so much,
Yeah,
and they
right.
get so many rewards, and they got a big watermelon at the end,
And they trust you.
Yeah,
They
and
trust you
it's-
guys.
And that's like on one of the AI attempts with Renee, I think she was in there like an hour and a half, but she didn't care. We were just chucking food to her the whole time. And stuff.
Yeah.
She's just like,
This is great.
right.
It's really funny to hear you guys talk about it, but we have sat in on quite a few of these sessions, including the AI sessions, which the AI artificial insemination sessions, there's so much like precise stuff going on, but also just incredible behavior from the elephants, especially Renee.
Yeah.
Because I've seen that protected contact and how that's all set up, and just Renee seems so relaxed.
And
It's
that's put in
just,
my plug that Renee's the best elephant ever.
it's like any
No
other
doubt
day
about
for
it.
her.
Partial
No, it's incredible to see how you guys are able to get an animal of just that size to be able to communicate, listen to, and just be so calm during such a, in our world would be a very invasive procedure.
Right.
But the same thing is too, like you talk about Renee. I mean, a Johnny who's 12,000 pounds. I mean, yeah, and he goes right in and he does what's needed. And yeah.
He's a great big elephant.
And he's
Gorgeous.
so mellow. And he's so mellow. He's
Yeah.
such a good male.
I say he looks like handsome Squidward from that one episode. He's got those like chiseled jaw lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I got to steer things back into like a more serious conversation. Well, I think that was seriously interesting and very insightful for just about anybody listening.
Yeah.
That be, with elephants in captivity or. So I was hoping that you guys would be able to define what EEHV is and how big of just a part it is in the elephant keeping world and just elephants in general. What is EEHV?
Yeah, so I'm probably going to botch this, and I wrote it down just so I wouldn't. It's elephant endotheliotrophic herpes virus.
Elephant.
Endotheliotropic. Endotheliotropic.
So we do weekly blood samples on everybody, send that out to a lab, does the EHV testing for several zoos. I think like 2 days later, they give us results. And so there's like a viral load that they say, it's 0, right? That they can tell in their blood if they're negative for it, it's 0.
So do all of our elephants get tested for this? Like do only certain elephants have it?
They all
Yeah.
are, but it's really the calves are more susceptible than are the adults. I mean, adults can get it, but for like Renee and Twiggy, their odds are probably real small at their age, but it's more concern for Kirkja.
So just to clarify for listeners that have just never heard of this before, so EEHV is a herpes virus that all elephants supposedly
are carriers of it.
Including Asian elephants?
It's actually,
it
was actually more common in Asians. It's really become more of an issue with Africans in the last probably like 10 to 15 years. They never thought it was an issue with Africans until about 15 years ago.
So
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say within the zoo world, is it assumed that most, if not all, elephants have this? It's just a dormant virus? Is that what I'm picking up on?
Yes, and so now we can test them to see if they have antibodies.
Okay.
So Renee, Twiggy, and Ajani all have antibodies for all the strands. So there's different strands too, right? So there's like, EEHV2, there's EEHV6. There's like
6 or 7 strains, I think.
3, 4, 7. And then in the Asian elephants, there's different strains from the African. So, they have a lot more research on the Asian elephants because they've
it's been
presenting it a lot
for,
longer.
I don't know, 30 plus years. Cause like there's some zoos that, they've lost like 5 or 6 calves from EEHV, and stuff like that. But they are working now on a vaccine they've tried a trial vaccine on a couple Asian elephants.
Yeah, I think they put it in the twins at Syracuse.
That's right. That was a recent news thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's awesome. So
in Houston,
it seems like there's a lot of research, and this isn't a very important thing to research within elephants in captivity and in the outside or the wild, correct?
And that's one of the things. I mean, it's assumed they all carry it, and that there's probably wild elephants dying from it. But again, unless you happen to come across a carcass that's real fresh of a calf that they can autopsy and take samples from, they don't really know. But it's assume that they're all carriers.
I see.
I think they have found it in some wild ones
Have they?
that they've come across from what I've looked into.
Okay. Yeah, EEHV impacted Toledo Zoo greatly a few years ago when we had tragically lost our young African elephant Lucas to EEHV, which I know had to have been incredibly hard for you guys.
It was tough. Yeah. We spent a lot of time trying to get him through it and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when I was saying oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough thing when it's something that you've worked with, you work with every day and stuff like that. And it was tough going through all that.
Yeah. You guys said that. So you guys said weekly that, or is it bi-weekly that these elephants are being tested for?
Weekly
basis.
Yeah.
Why does it have to be tested so frequently? Like that's a lot.
It's amazing how quickly it can hit them.
Yeah, it just pops up.
Yeah. And that's exactly what happened in our case.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he was 350,000 when we found out.
Yeah. And just
350,000.
Like the viral load that he had
Oh,
was
wow.
already 350,000, which
just within
we've
a
had-
week.
yeah, and we've had blips, and we even do in the girls sometimes, like a 400 or a 200, which is like, okay, well, let's test him again and make sure. But yeah, his was just like, whoa.
And I think the last one they took on him, he was like 6 million or something
in
like
the
that.
millions.
So
Oh
it
my
just,
gosh.
that's the thing. It just, the way it just explodes. And,
Mhm.
Yeah. And I remember when all that, was coming out and I was brought into the conversation on it too. Just when those tests came back and you guys see those numbers, it's all hands on deck, not even just for Toledo Zoo. It was like across the nation of like elephant.
We were getting like plasma from other zoos and
Whole
things like
blood.
that. Whole blood.
I think
Yep.
Indy were like, they had a keeper that drove it down to it. Like they drew it and drove it down like the same day. So that was cool. Like when everyone comes together to help
The
out.
community.
Cleveland was drawing for us. Like we had a vet tech go there and do some stuff with them, and even medicine. Like, do you guys need more medicine? And I think we got some actually donated
From
the hospital.
Yeah,
or
I think from Toledo
somewhere
Hospital, I think.
locally
Yeah, right.
that was like,
Yeah.
hey, we have this, and we're able to use that.
And what I've gathered from all this is that EEHV has gathered so much attention in the elephant world, and it's so important. It's so vital, and the research that's happening is so, so important for these animals because when it hits hard.
Yeah.
And that's what ended up
Right.
in our
And
case.
it's fast.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
it's just,
And I mean, I don't know what the survival rate is now, but it's probably, I don't know, maybe 50%. I don't even know if it's that high.
I don't
but,
even know if it's
yeah.
that high either.
So once things
Yeah,
start going
that's the
positive,
thing,
it's
right.
more or less a flip of the coin.
Right.
That's
Mhm.
why it's so important to be doing this research.
Yes, right.
And I know that I was not here at the zoo for when Lucas passed away, but I know that like Lucas was like a favorite of this, not
Mhm.
only the zoo community, but like Toledo and
Yeah, he was a cool
Lucas
little
County,
elephant. He had
yeah.
a nice
He was named
personality.
after
And
Lucas
so-
County.
yeah.
but like now, years later, Renee has, I like to call her rainbow baby. She's got Kirkja.
Yeah.
And what I thought was so cool about Kirkja is right after she was born, the vets and you guys grabbed that placenta. Now, what has Kirkja's birth been able to do for EEHV research?
so we can take parts of that placenta, and send it off for, people to research, or not
people.
Yeah. The labs,
Very
whatever.
important.
You know,
Yeah.
like
Scientists,
people that know what they're
Those
doing.
EEHV people, yeah.
But also take some of her stem cells and, you know,
And they
I
can
think
bank it, right? They bank it. They can use it then for part of their research to help try to come up with a cure or vaccine.
right.
You know.
And then if
Yep.
Kirkja were to get sick, we
Yep.
can call them and, hey, you know, we need her stem cells and put those back into her. And that can actually help her
That's cool.
get better. And I don't know if you guys saw the placenta.
We saw
We'll
the
insert a
placenta.
photo now.
Yeah.
There for
Okay,
all of
we're
that
gonna-
stuff.
if
It was
we're-
so cool.
If we're gonna insert this photo, viewer discretion and advice.
It's bloody.
It is a very cool thing to
Yeah.
see, but it is very bloody. I mean,
very
it's
big.
It's very big.
Yeah.
And it's
It was so cool to see though, because like we all gathered in the vet hospital
Mhm.
and Dr. G, our head vet, is like all geared up. She's got her gloves on. She's wearing gloves, unlike you guys.
Yeah.
And she's got her
She's a
text
wimp.
with her and she's like, look at this beautiful placenta. She's like, are you guys like, she literally called it beautiful. She's like, look how gorgeous this
She
is.
really
and I'm
did.
like, I'm over in the corner like gagging. I'm like, okay, like, kind of gross, but she's picking through it and they're like, okay, so this facility wants this part of the umbilicus, or they want this and they want this. And so it was just so cool to see that, like, yeah, we have this like beautiful baby elephant, but we also need to realize that we are a great place for research and like we can, you know, create a bigger impact on elephants like worldwide.
Wasn't it like 50 pounds?
It was big. We do have like a weight on it. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
look
Well,
back on it.
because we were watching video, we were here 24 hours, right? We were watching to make sure Kirkja was nursing and whatever, and make sure that that placenta came out. And actually, Bev and I were here, and she's like, I think it's on the ground there. And we went over there. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I was holding Renee away, and Bev's pulling this placenta out. And we go back to look on camera, and it looks like she's dragging a dead body out of, because it's, you know, she's like dragging it through
The
the
blood
stall,
is
and
like-
there's-
Oh
It's
my
so funny.
gosh. Oh, you guys have an
But,
interesting job.
yeah, it's so cool. All the like
The veins
and
yeah.
the like, and
Yep.
Dr. G's like, well, this is what was, you know, going to the baby, and this is what
Yeah,
was, and
right,
I don't know,
yeah.
it's just so.
But now it's being used for research.
But
which is
yeah,
so awesome.
I've never seen any. It was
Very cool.
cool.
Before we move on from that, I want to hear a little bit from you guys, because I mean we've got our elephant keepers in here, and we
Yeah.
have a baby elephant,
We have
and
Kirkja.
we're just talking about her birth. I mean, everybody just happened to be there that night, but that birth,
including
you,
herp staff.
you guys were
Yeah, they're-
the head people that were involved in making sure that Renee and baby Kirkja were okay. Like, what are some highlights from that night that you remember? Like, were you guys like super hands-on? Were you
The
guys hands
highlight
off?
for me was when we were sick, when Sarah and I were down in front of the
was gonna
exhibit
say the same
because
thing.
it looked like Kirkja was going to come through the cable. We're like, oh my gosh.
Kirkja was taking her first steps, and
I know.
she wanted to hang out with the
Yeah,
humans.
so I was like, that was probably the highlight.
Yeah. We decided, and we knew like we were going to be very hands off. Like we wanted Renee to do her thing, right? But Kirkja trying to walk, you know, we had the wires in the front. It was hot wire, but it was turned off. So, but it was still.
But of course,
It
she had
gave
to be,
a lot.
right. She was doing it
And-
all right along the
Yeah,
cables
that's
instead
where
of being
she
in the middle of
decided.
instead of being in the
So
middle of the.
So
of the
she's like
stall.
toppling
Yeah.
over on the cables the whole time, and I thought she was
She was
stuck.
about-
She was.
Well, she had her
She
head
had
out and like
a
she
leg
was
out.
yeah.
She was trying to come see you.
And
Yeah,
you
she
know,
was.
Renee's there, and so and I'm like, let's go. And you know, we get out there, and I'm like, you got Renee, right?
So Sarah's got to push.
Yeah. Right. So, and it was just you two down there after the calf was born, right?
Mhm.
Because it was like, everyone else stay back. Let's let Sarah and Dave go see.
When we started posting about Kirkja and that the baby has arrived and everything, we started talking about how you guys started training right away, like
Mhm.
days after Kirkja was born. Is there a reason why we started engaging with baby and mom so early on after the birth?
You want to start building that relationship as soon as
Yeah.
possible. Even though she doesn't really understand a lot of what's going on and stuff like that, you still want to you get her used to, you know, our voices, our mannerisms, get her used to at least seeing the target that we use to
Mhm.
start training them, you know, and so.
And we wanted to get a weight really fast, and that was one of the ways, you know, we could tell she was getting enough food, was to weigh her and make sure she's gaining weight, and that was normal. And
Was it all about baby, or did it have to do with mom at all for
It's more about
training
baby,
purposes?
really.
I would say, yeah, more about baby, but also, you know, Renee had to let us.
Right.
Yeah. Can you explain to us? We've made a few videos about like the baby creep.
Mhm.
Can you talk to us about like what that is and explain, you know, how that worked and is it still working today?
when we first had it, it was just an open area, almost like a little tiny pen. And we would remove the bottom cables so that Kirkja could come in. But Renee stayed out. So we could work, hands-on, free contact. You guys learned what?
Which, for younger elephants, you guys are allowed to do that with an
Yes,
AZA.
according to AZA, it's up to 2 years. You can work free contact.
You could technically still do free contact.
Yeah,
with,
we could.
What is it,
And-
900-pound Kirkja now?
I feel like she'd pummel me. Let's play.
Yeah.
Only because
Because she's
right. If you had gone in with her from day one, but now because she's a year old, she probably would be very pushy to see what. Oh, is this a toy?
I mean, she's already getting a little pushy, and that's kind of where we decided, let's stop.
So what's the purpose of this pen area then that you guys built
So that
up?
was for us to, build a relationship with her and also get hands on her, get, check her umbilical, like where her umbilicus was, listen to her heartbeat. We did vaccines in there. We did the weight in there. She doesn't really know, what she's doing. So we, helped her out a little bit, and it was nice to be able to get those early weights and be able to check her out. And our vet staff was able to come in and check her out. And then, so we modified that as she got bigger and a little pushy. We put a chains down the middle so she can still come out into a space by herself, but we're on the outside. So it's protected contact. And we still do that now. We just set the scale up in there. She actually runs down to it and beats us to it most of the time.
Ears out. It's like, my friends are here to play with me. Like, she was so excited to see you guys and interact with you guys. And then also Renee was just like, take her.
I know.
what you
It's
need.
like, I need a moment to
I need a
myself.
break. Yeah.
That's right.
And that's the other thing is you guys made it very clear if Renee didn't want baby in that area with you, she would not be.
She
in
would
with you.
not.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
So this is all with Renee's consent.
Yes.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Very
That's
cool.
so cool.
And after a year, Kirkja's become a pro at working
Oh,
in that
yeah.
space with you
Oh,
guys.
yeah.
We recently witnessed a weighing session with you, and she steps right up,
Mhm.
gets her treats.
How much does she weigh now?
God, what was she 880?
880? Was that it? Yeah, 880 or 881. She's a big girl now. And we're so excited for her birthday party. I can't wait.
My gosh, mermaids.
Mermaid theme.
Mermaids. Why mermaids?
After our live stream with her swimming in that pool, she might as
Oh
well
my
be a
God,
little
she
mermaid.
did so good.
She did an amazing job.
Do you know that's like the first time she really played in the pool like that?
Yeah,
So
for
it
people
was-
who tuned into that was a real treat because when we had set everything up, we're like, hey, it's just going to be what it is, and we'll see what happens. And yeah, it turns out that she just had an absolute blast.
Yeah, because
in the
I had
pool.
told you guys, I was like, we've been practicing, like we've been giving her the pool and she's not doing much. Not
Ultimately, up
sure.
to
She
her.
said, the camera's on. I'm ready to play. So I don't know if you guys watched our last episode, but we have a little segment called the Zoomies.
I saw that.
Yeah. So we got a few rapid fire questions for you guys.
But before we get started, do elephants get the zoomies?
Oh, yeah.
We're
Yeah.
going to have to make this a
They
thing.
do.
does.
Yeah. And Renee does it on occasion,
Yeah.
but not much.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do. Yeah.
They get excited and they go
They
running
run
around.
around, they trumpet, their ears are out. And stuff like that.
When Kirkja runs and trumpets, it's the cutest
Right?
sound I've ever heard.
She's so cute.
She's adorable.
Everything she does is cute.
Yeah. Everything she does is cute. She's the perfect elephant.
She's just,
Second perfect.
Sorry, Renee's.
well, she was made from the perfect.
Oh, that's
Yes.
true. That's true.
Yeah, yeah.
perfect point too.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. All right. So the first Zoomie question: is it true that elephants never forget?
They're very smart.
They are very smart
Yes,
and
they
have
have a very good
memory?
memory. Yeah, recall. Yeah. Because they have to in the wild. I mean, they have to remember these pathways and things like that they travel
Yeah.
Where their water
hundreds of miles.
is.
Yeah. So yes, they do have a very
Do they have big brains? Like I know some people are like, oh, their brains are only the size of like a peanut. Like I bet that's not
Yeah.
true.
no.
No, their brains are bigger than
Yeah.
ours.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's
think
not
they're like-
hard.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, we're not really that smart anyway. So yeah.
I didn't mean us.
I just meant people in general.
Sarah's brain is like,
But no,
kidding.
they have a large brain.
They have a large brain.
Yeah, I think
right?
it's like 3 times
Wow.
bigger than.
Probably. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's proportionate with the noggin.
Proportionate noggin. I like it. All right. Question 2. How many pounds of poop do the elephants produce each day? This is a question I've always had on my mind of like,
One adult elephant.
You guys ever quantified it? Like how
Yeah.
how much poop are you guys?
I would say, because
Like
we haven't actually,
200?
we have never actually, probably, because
250?
sometimes most piles are probably 25 to 30 pounds, and they poop 10, well, might even be closer to 300. They poop probably 8 to 10 times a day.
No way.
Yeah.
You're telling me that like Renee produces like 300 pounds of poop a day?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably somewhere between 200 and 300.
And you're shoveling that?
A day.
From every elephant.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
So that's
like I say,
except Kirkja.
Yeah. So, like I say, yeah. I mean, a pile is probably 20 pounds, you know, and like I say, you take an average of 20 pounds and 8 to 10 times. So 200 at least.
We got to do some elephant math here. Yeah. So how much?
He's really good at math. So if you want to quiz
3 adult elephants times 3 is that's 900 to 1,000 pounds of poop a day.
Probably.
It's a lot.
I bet you Kirkja gets us over that threshold.
Yeah. So when y'all are shoveling this, 1, does your back hurt? And 2, where does it go?
Back hurt depends on how much you're shoveling in a day, day to day.
It's heavy. Yeah. And
is it just shovels that you guys are using to pick it all up? Like
usually
shovels,
are
pitchforks. Yeah. And I've learned it's for all you elephant keepers.
Let the younger people do it.
You drive around the toolcat and everyone else gets to know. Right. We used to love the shorter handled shovels. Yep. But I think I've had back surgery because my back got bad, but ever since then I've used the longer handle, and that just seems like so much better. And
I learned too that it's better to take smaller shovelfuls and have more shovelfuls. You don't have to get
the whole pile
than trying to lift right.
So shovel technique, it's very easy.
Oh yeah.
You've learned it here?
Yeah. Yes.
You've learned it
so from one keeper to another, we're hearing longer shovels.
No gloves.
No, you don't wear gloves when you're shoveling.
Big brains.
Only wimpies do that.
More shovel loads, less heavy.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And my second part to that question, where does it go?
Where's all this?
Where is this poop going?
Dumpster.
Yeah, it just goes to the landfill, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I mean,
dumpster.
Really? Does it ever go to like farms for like manure and stuff?
No, but they did at one time. They used it on grounds as fertilizer.
I think it was.
But we got.
And I don't remember.
We had too much, and they stopped.
Well, and then there was something too with giving it out to people to take home. But there was something. It had to be disinfected.
Oh,
yeah.
So I don't know how you disinfect.
I know, but I think it's because make sure that you weren't. If they had parasites, you're not So, but yeah,
we just need to start putting some elephant poop.
Yeah,
in there. It
start
really
using it again.
Would be a special.
I tried tomato grown from elephant poop. I tried it.
I had butternut squash one year growing out of my compost pile because I had elephant poop on the compost pile. So I picked it and brought it all back in and fed it to the elephants.
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool.
Great recycle program.
I wasn't going to eat it myself.
Audiences will.
I totally would.
I honestly want to hear from the public if there's a general interest in elephant poop manure.
Basically, what you guys are saying is it's a whole lot of poop, and it could be used for different things, but you guys just have a stinky dumpster in the back.
We do. Yeah, about 4 of them.
And there was a time about 5 years ago, they were looking at seeing if they could use it as a heat source for a furnace to heat some of the buildings. But
dry it out.
Yeah, dry it out and stuff like that. But I don't think it was feasible at the time.
So what I'm hearing is untapped potential.
Yes.
Yeah.
Untapped potential.
Hey, in the wild, I mean, a lot of people in Africa, natives, they get the dried boluses and they use them to start fires and stuff like that. Yeah, heat. You
gotta start
it's like a survival
thing. Natural fire starter.
Yeah. You got to figure it's a lot of dried grass and hay, and stuff.
Yeah.
So, okay, we can use the elephant poop in our heirloom vegetable gardens. We can use them in the fire pits at Lights Before Christmas.
You can make poop heads out of them.
Poop heads out of them, so decor. We can do decor with it. I'm hearing that
it's called a shithead.
Shithead, sorry. I was trying to be nice, but shithead.
This is great. Okay. So much use for poop.
I love talking about poop. This is great. All right.
There's no better thing to talk about at a zoo.
Let's keep going with these zoomies.
Poop man.
This next question: at what time was Kirkja born? This is like a little quiz question for you guys.
8/11.
Okay, sometime
Do
around
you remember
after.
that? Is that like in your heart?
Yeah, I mean it's
because you're right.
There.
Because you're right. Yes, 8:11 p.m.
How could anybody forget the explosion?
Right. Ask the herp keepers what they think about.
Well, obviously, people didn't think that what they were doing was very important because they all left to come see the elephant.
For anybody who didn't listen to the first episode, when we were talking to our herp keepers, they brought up Kirkja's birth, the night of Kirkja's birth, which was also their big Venom Among the Vines event. And like right at 10 p.m., right before the event had wrapped up, all of our leadership team slowly started leaving the building and leaving the presentation. And we didn't find out until shortly after what was actually going on, which was Kirkja's birth. So elephants did steal the show.
Yeah.
The way it is. That's what happens when you got the most important animals.
Right?
There's all kinds of shade being thrown out here.
I love it. Last question for the Zoomies. What is the grossest thing you've experienced as a zookeeper?
As a zookeeper?
Mm-hmm.
The grossest.
Oh, God, mine was dealing with a chimp that puked all over me.
All over you?
Oh,
Got
yeah.
puked on by a chimp?
Where were you? Where was the chimp?
So the way the ape house used to be set up, we'd bring them into our chimps into the back feed cage, and every morning you'd feed them this mixture of baby cereal milk called pablum. You had it in a can. They'd come up to the bars. You'd dump it in their mouth, and so we had this one chimp who liked to every now and then plus we were feeding them cottage cheese off a spoon. That was their breakfast. And who liked to every now and then I was feeding one of the other ones, came up and goes, and just like all over me.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
pretty gross.
Did you go home and change?
No. Luckily I had an extra shirt and some jeans here that I put on, and but
Oh my God.
that was probably the grossest
That
thing.
sounds absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
Gross. I think my grossest is the sloth bear poop on the heated floors in the winter. When I would scoop that, it smelled so bad. I would like be dry heaving into the trash can because it was so gross.
So neither of your grossest moments had to do with
Nothing
elephants.
else.
No,
No, they don't bother
They're
me.
not gross.
Yeah,
are they?
they don't bother me.
Like when they have an abscess and there's like pus that comes out, right?
Yeah.
Like on an elephant, it doesn't bother me. On people, ew, no,
Yeah.
no.
So coming from the same people that have had elephant poop showers, there are
Yeah, it's
far
fine.
more gross things to experience
Oh, yeah.
as a zookeeper.
Yeah, by far.
Mhm.
Intriguing.
Learn something new every day.
Every day.
Wow. All right.
Cool.
It's quite gross.
Well, we had some questions pulled in from our audiences. We had prompted everybody yesterday before recording this episode to see if they had any questions for you guys. We're hoping that Maddie's got those pulled up and can kind of see what we can ask you for some great answers.
So all of this talk, now I have a question personally. What's grosser, changing a diaper or caring for the elephant poop?
Changing a diaper. By a long shot. No comparison.
Probably didn't even have to hear
Yeah.
the second part of that question.
Yeah.
Oh my
No
gosh.
comparison.
Okay. So Samantha wants to know, how much food do they eat a day?
If it's Samantha and Herbs, forget it. We're not going to answer. No, I'm just kidding.
Sam's interested.
They're probably 150 to 200 pounds. They get like 20 pounds of produce, 15 to 20 pounds of produce, about 5 pounds of grain. So,
Per elephant?
except for Kirkja.
Except for
Her,
Kirkja.
Yeah, for the adults.
And actually, Renee's probably getting a little more now
Yeah,
that
that's right,
she's
yeah.
nursing.
Yep.
It's kind of,
Just going off the poop stats. So there's so much more output than there is input, it sounds like.
yeah.
Just
Well,
like
I think
how?
they only digest what, like 60 or 50%.
more like 50% of what they eat. Yeah,
So
that's why they produce.
Those ratios are interesting. Okay.
These ratios.
Doing elephant ratios.
Well, yeah, you also got to remember. Then you get water with the poop. So it's things like that. So
Very true.
Yeah.
Della wants to know, do elephants like the snow?
I don't know if they like it, but they'll go out in it if we give them access.
they will.
They don't
Kirkja, we've given her like a scoop of snow and she hasn't been super interested in it.
Oh no.
But I think if we have a good snow, not that I want a good snow, like I'm very much, come on, spring, let's go. But I remember Lucas playing in it.
Yeah.
I think you guys did you video it when Lucas
We
went
have
out?
video of the other
Like,
elephants when they were
He's
younger.
flipping
playing in
around
snow.
and having a good old time
And
in the
Renee
snow.
will go walk the yard out in the snow and
Mhm.
stuff like that.
Don't you guys give them like snow cones too?
They don't do much with them usually, though.
Yeah.
So the adults don't care so much,
No.
but the younger ones
Because we
might play
tried putting
around.
making big snowballs and putting them in the middle
Like
of the exhibits,
snowmen
yeah,
and-
and stuff. And
I mean, if we put food in them, they'll
but otherwise,
mess. Yeah.
Now, temperature-wise, we're in Ohio and we're talking about African elephants. Temperature-wise, are they around what temperatures are they kind of okay in colder weather? When we talk about putting them out in the snow, like how cold is it outside when they're out?
but
out in the snow?
they have access to go in.
Okay,
So
so
they're not
they have
locked
that
out,
choice.
Yeah. So they can. So that may Renee maybe will walk a lap around the exhibit and go back in and stuff like that.
Okay.
Twiggy, I mean, it depends on the elephant too, because Twiggy is very much like, oh, it's cold out there. I'm not.
So
I don't really want to go.
Oh yeah.
So they definitely have preferences.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we give them that. It's cool that we can give them the choice. The old exhibit, it was either you're outside or you're in. So our new facility that it's built. Gosh, it's not really new anymore.
No, I know, 10 years now, but yeah, or more. But Johnny seems to like going out too.
He does. Yeah. We tend to give him a lot more access, like around now, because he'll take a lap. He was eating the snow one day, eating ice. So he enjoys it, but.
Because we'll hear that from a few people sometimes. They'll say, it's Ohio and it's snowing out. Isn't it too cold for elephants? But that's great to know, is that ultimately these elephants have choice whether to be outside or not.
Yeah,
and if they feel fine
you're
enough,
not going to we're not going to lock them out. Yeah.
Yeah. And they've got these great, warm, large facilities where they can go inside and warm up over the colder months.
Right.
Great. Okay.
What else we got?
I think we already answered this one from Riley. How much does the poop really weigh?
So, yeah.
2 to 3.
Yeah.
We said?
Yeah. 2 to 3. But I mean, a pile is like probably 20 or 25, but 200 to 300 pounds a day.
So you got your piles.
Johnny has some big
Yeah,
piles.
he does. Yeah.
Your elephant cumulative, and then your herd output.
Your per elephant output.
Per poop?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Amazing.
He wants to know, why can't all elephants be together at the same time?
So this has to do with like herd dynamics, right?
It does, and their social structure and how they run. I mean, Renee's very dominant, and usually, you have your matriarch, and she has her offspring, and then they have offspring, and it's a big family group, and then the males go off to breed or make their own bachelor groups. So they grow up together, and they form those bonds and stuff. But like for our zoo, it's been a little harder because Twiggy came in 2010, and Renee had been here since
82.
So Renee had already established that, she's boss, and she is very much boss. Like it's her show every day. Right. We're just, playing in it.
And Twiggy hadn't really been around another elephant for
a while,
for probably 20 years.
Yeah.
And Johnny, he's really would never be part of the herd anyways. He might, in the wild, he might join up with them every now and then, hang out, for breeding and things like that. But mostly the bulls just kind of hang out on their own.
Mm-hmm. So we've done a lot of work getting Renee and Twiggy together, which I'm glad we put all that work in, because then introducing Kirkja into the mix has been a little bit easier.
And that was the other thing. This is our first female calf who would stay with the herd, whereas the other two being males, they would have been moved eventually anyways.
And I've seen, we've shown a little bit of content of Kirkja and Twiggy and that relationship and that bond.
Oh,
how is that
so
going?
Cute. Yeah. It's good. It was a little worrisome at first because Twiggy just didn't know what to do. She was a little nervous. I think it was more, she didn't know what Renee was going to do when Kirkja would get close to her, what she was allowed to do per se. Renee would be on one side and Kirkja would be on the other side of her. And she's just like, I don't know where to go. But we put a lot of work into that too, and just, really treated them and, made it positive for them. And anytime Kirkja came around Twiggy, we're like, yeah, good job, giving her a lot of food and keeping Renee also busy, doing something else so that, Renee can have that break and, Twiggy gets time with Kirkja and now it's cool because, they will start, moving around. And if Twiggy gets sandwiched between Renee and Kirkja, she always picks Kirkja. She's like, I'm going to go towards Kirkja and go this way. And so it's cool to see how it's evolved and see how, Twiggy's confidence has built back up.
And this is so different from when Lucas was here because Lucas was about 4 years old before we started trying to introduce her to Twiggy. And plus it was a matter of, you could crack a door, Lucas could go through the door to be with Twiggy, but Renee then wasn't over there. So Twiggy was a lot more comfortable. And so the whole thing just went a lot easier, because she didn't have to worry about Renee's reaction. If something happened, Lucas would just run back, through the doorway and go back over to Renee.
Right.
So is the goal to eventually have all three females out on exhibit together?
Yeah. And I think we'll be there this summer. I think they will be. It might not be all day starting out, but I think we'll get there. They're doing so well inside now.
That should be exciting for everybody to see.
Very exciting.
It's cool.
This springtime
And that was the way it was too with Renee and Twiggy up until Renee gave birth, they were spending,
all day
4 or 5
together.
hours a day outside together and things like that. So, yeah.
Last one from Jared. What are the names of individual mole rats at the zoo?
So for our viewers who might not know, you guys take care of the elephants, the rhinos, and the naked mole rats.
We do.
I think
Largest
that's so
animal
funny.
at the zoo.
Mhm.
One of the smallest
Smallest
animals
animal.
at the zoo.
Do they
Mhm.
have names?
Scabby.
Scabbers.
Yeah, that was about it. Queen and Queenie.
Right. Yeah. No, they don't.
Yeah.
We name them when they have some kind of physical marker that we can see. It's like, oh, they're scabbers.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's so many of
Why
them.
is he called Scabbers?
Because he had a little scabber.
So that way you can identify it. Look at
Scabbers. Oh my
And
god.
sometimes they have little interactions where one gets nicked up a little bit and stuff like that. So
Yeah. But,
if in case you have to treat it with some antibiotics or something, this way you can tell them apart by having it.
Mhm.
Then,
but yeah, our naked mole rat colony is very old. I think they're in their 20s.
What?
I'm
They
sorry.
live that long?
Yeah.
I had
So-
no idea they lived that long.
They live that long. That's
yeah.
crazy.
So it's like number 9900.
Yeah, right. So most of them have a
Just know 'em by
microchip.
there.
So when the vets do an exam, they can tell which
Wow.
one.
So we do
but
a
they don't have-
yearly
Yeah.
like visual
Yeah, on all of them.
weights and get hands on them and, get their weight and get their
Yeah.
microchip. And
Now, is the only reason that you guys are also taking care of them because they're in the elephant house?
yeah,
Do you
'cause
think
of
if-
proximity?
A proximity.
Is that
Okay.
like
Yeah,
a shared responsibility, or is there like one designated keeper?
No, it's shared. Usually whoever's doing rhino for the day
Okay.
does the naked mole rat.
Right,
And we
that's
switch that. With our whole department, we each take a day.
Mhm.
I think one person has 2 days, but we share them.
So
Gotta love those
interesting.
naked mole rats. They're so goofy.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, they are fun to watch because you're like looking at these beautiful big elephants, then you look in the corner of your eye and you're like, what's that little rat over there doing?
Is that?
Yeah. Ooh.
They are beautiful, very capable little mammals that
They are very,
all
they're very
around have
neat.
their own little social dynamics too.
Mhm.
Mhm.
From what I've seen.
Check out our naked mole rats next time you guys are going to visit Kirkja.
Yeah.
Maybe
Well,
we should have a contest to name them.
A naming contest
Yeah.
for all, what,
For
20
all
of them?
24.
And then- Yeah, good luck identifying.
Yeah,
them.
I know.
Right? Yeah, that's
That-
yours. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the one you
sure.
named.
That's
Yeah.
John.
Yeah,
I don't know. Oh my gosh. That's awesome. Well, I want to thank you guys so much for being on our podcast, being our second guests, for coming on even after the herpetology team
We should have been
tried to
first,
roast
by the
you.
way.
Yeah.
Don't
I'm glad
shade.
you guys didn't get scared away after that first episode.
Yeah, I think this has been so fun, so insightful, not only for myself, but I hope that our audience has learned something today. You guys can come out and know that there's 1,000 pounds of elephant poop that needs to be shoveled. And maybe one day you can be the one to shovel it. Just go to college. And to say or give our thanks for you guys, we have created your very own posters from this episode. So I'm going to hold them up really quick. Sarah, we put
Oh
the
my God,
matriarch.
so cute.
We know, Sarah, that you are not technically the matriarch, but you are the elephant manager.
Right.
So yeah, we got a little Kirkja on your
oh my
shoulder.
God, so cute.
And a
Oh,
little-
sheesh.
A sheesh is in there.
Oh, look at
Now,
that.
I will say I tried to put a naked mole rat, but it didn't work.
Aw.
So
Yeah, that violated.
that violated guidelines on Photoshop.
yeah. And so for Dave here, he's
Oh my God,
our,
look at your staff.
Yeah, he's the leader. He's the elephant king.
Yeah, and that's actually a scepter. I learned that
Oh,
is what
sorry.
kings hold. It's a scepter. Yeah.
So
Oh,
we
that's
have-
awesome.
Mhm.
This is
And-
supposed to be Renee in the back, I would assume.
Yeah, that's
right?
Renee, of course.
Yeah. She's got your back.
Cool. She always has.
She's
Which is-
got your
Yeah.
red. Yep. Well, there's a little marker underneath that iPad for you guys. We'd love for you to sign it. That way you can be added to our Hall of Fame, our Wall of Fame. We'll put you
Yes.
guys above Nick and Sam
Oh,
if that'll make you happier.
Yeah,
Is there
I mean,
one?
that's where
Yeah.
we should be.
Yeah.
That's where we should be. Dang. It's brutal out here. Oh my
Man,
gosh.
Oh man, oh man.
So, yes.
Yes, there is some heated competition between these
Sign it
crews.
wherever you'd like.
So we
Again,
can sell it on eBay later.
All right.
again, thank you guys so much for being on this episode
This is
of our
fun.
Thank you
podcast.
for having
Yes,
us.
I'm
I
glad
appreciate
you
it.
guys had fun.
I enjoyed it.
For our viewers, again, we really hope that you guys have enjoyed this episode. You've learned something. We encourage you guys to come out to all the different events and activities we have here at the zoo. Some events coming up. We have Orchid Show all month long of February. If you want to be just like me and wear this really cool Orchid Show sweatshirt,
That turned out so good.
it turned out so good. Go get it in the gift shops or on our online store. We also have some Slow Brew sweatshirts on our online store as well. That event has been sold out, but if you're going, can't wait to see you there. We have Kirkja's first birthday coming up on February 22nd. Come see her enjoy her cake and her mermaid-themed enrichment.
Should be a good time. So for anything that you guys would like to come out and enjoy or visit the zoo or look into getting a membership, because my gosh, there is so much to be enjoyed here at the Toledo Zoo. Visit toledozoo.org for all that information. So thank you all for tuning in today. We really hope that you enjoyed listening to everything there is to be said about Toledo Zoo and our amazing elephant department. Make sure that you follow us on our various social media platforms where we post all kinds of content on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, if it's still here for the next, foreseeable future. Okay. You can also see this podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Make sure that you leave a comment on these various platforms. Give us a review. Let us know how we're doing. And I'm also going to be linking in some opportunities to be able to do a formal review as well. We want to hear about what people are interested in hearing from us, what kind of people we want to be talking to here, and what specific interests our audiences are looking out for when it comes to a podcast that comes from Toledo Zoo. And with all that said, we hope that you'll tune in next month when our next episode comes out. See you there.